My name's Brian.
Brian, Yuri.
Good to meet you. Yuri. Cheers. You mind if I ask you?
Wow.
We're representing Niantic down the way, so.
I wasn't aware that Niantic had a presence here.
Niantic made me very aware of your presence.
That's crazy. I'm not in character or anything.
I tried to keep that in mind when I made some questions. I didn't want to have to pull you onto the clock for something you're not doing.
Well, I'm happy to go on there if only I had known.
I just wanted to ask, what brought you to Tulare County?
We came with Ethan Dedmeyer, who does combat radio. We work with Ethan a lot, and he said, "Hey guys, there's this great event that I'm doing.
The charity convention.
Yeah, and would you come up?" And I said, "Well, it's my birthday this week, but sure, why not? You know, where else would I want to spend a day of my birthday week than at a convention working it with Ethan and company?"
Exactly.
Cool. I'm glad you guys came.
Thank you.
How did you get into voice acting?
For us, it was one of those things because we're both actors. We were living in New York and we moved out to Los Angeles and we were just trying to find work. We're, what do we need to do to get into theater or do television or do film? And we're just trying to see what options we had. And it was pretty evident from the beginning that we were going to need to have a lot of options in order to actually make a viable career. Yeah. And we were sitting down talking, and I don't even know how it came up, but it was one of those things like, what about cartoons? People do that, right? There's a thing, right? And we didn't even really know what voice acting was specifically.
Yeah, which is funny because I grew up playing video games and watching cartoons and, anime.
We hadn't thought of it as a career.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, I was just a fan. I never thought of it as, we could do that as a job.
Yeah.
But she said, well, what about voice? Because we're looking into other options besides waiting tables and working in offices. And she said, what about voice acting? And I said, well, I don't know anything about that. So we just took a class, a basic class.
And then from that class, we started booking work, and it was pretty
we
straight up.
Created our demo reel, started sending it out, and it was a slow build, but it seems to have worked out.
And it's funny, though, because now we're best known for our voiceover work, even though we still do television and film and stage, and we still do everything that we can do as actors, but now we're mostly known for voiceover.
Do you have a favorite character that you've done?
That's like a Sophie's Choice thing. Yeah, playing Superman was sort of a feather in my cap. Being a nerd from way back, it's kind of hard to not just retire on that one. But Ben 10, because I got to play Ben for so long that it's you get to grow a character over time.
And also for both of us, we've got to be on Naruto for so many years recording.
What are some of the more difficult accents or dialects that you have to try to learn to emulate?
South African.
Oh, South African is really tough.
Hard. I just worked on South African recently. And really specific things, because sometimes they're like, just do British, but then sometimes they're like, could you do North Country British, or something, Welsh. Welsh is weird, man. Yeah. I don't even know where to start on
But
that.
also, I think partly it's once you've gotten a certain accent in your head, then to try to flip it if you're in a session and you do, say, a character that's got a French accent, and then they want you to do an Irish accent, and then they want you to do a Russian accent. They all start to blend together because your ear gets a little tweaked from doing the first one. If you just go in and do one accent, it's much easier to sustain once you're in the accect.
You're not flipping around.
Yeah, you're not flipping around.
That's where the director really, stays on it, and then if you start drifting into another accent, there.
Do you have any favorite genres or story delivery platforms that you like?
Yeah, I'm definitely a genre guy. I grew up watching, horror and sci-fi and, that sort of stuff and fantasy. And so I love making that stuff too, which is why we formed a production company, so we can start making the kinds of things that we like to watch and, we like the worlds that we like to play in. The great thing about voice acting is that we get to play a lot of different roles that we'd never get cast in, on camera because of what we look like. But if you can sound like that, a 75-year-old Japanese guy, I mean, there's no way in today's day and age, in this world, that I would ever get cast on camera.
This isn't Kung Fu.
Right, exactly. Back in the day, they slid a little bit. But yeah, so that, it really opens up our world as actors too, which is great.
One final question. Does being parents influence the roles that you choose?
Well, we're not parents.
We have a cat.
Right.
So we're good cat parents.
Oh, cool.
And
Yeah.
but that is an interesting question, because we do care about the kind of message that
And we work with a lot of kids, and we work with a lot of their parents.
and a lot of the stuff that we do is for kids.
You have a brand image.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And yet, I believe that kids are talked down to a lot, and I don't like to do that. I like to treat kids as if they're just as intelligent, if not more so, than we are, and that adults are. So I don't like to hide things from them. I think that if there's stuff that you find objectionable as a parent, it is your job to educate your kids and to let them know why you think
you think it is.
Yeah, why you think that may be not right for them until they're older. That's not our, I don't like to censor ourselves per se, but we do care. I mean, we do know that what we do and say affects kids. We can try.
I remember when I was a kid growing up, I would watch like Batman or the X-Men.
Yeah.
And I was really drawn to that because even though it was a kid's cartoon, there were storylines in there that made you think as a kid.
Absolutely.
All these grown-up ideas, like taking human rights and showing it through this mutant lens.
Exactly.
Or these crime gray areas in Batman and stuff.
Yeah.
And as a kid, they're big ideas, but they weren't delivered in a heavy way.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I kind of felt that was great as an older kid.
I think that's exactly how you should introduce those kinds of topics to kids, in a way that they can relate to it and associate with it on a softer level, and then they can actually take the lessons they've learned into real life scenario.
And genre programming is a great way to sneak in really important debate under the cover of, it's sci-fi or it's fantasy. Nobody will notice that they're learning things because. Yeah. So that's another reason I love genre stuff.
Well, thanks for the interview. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Paige.
Would you mind if I put this on the air?
No, not at all.
Put it wherever you want to put it.